Do all employees have a legal right to annual leave and holiday pay? In this video, we're going to talk about 0-hour contracts, holiday pay, annual leave, calculating annual leave. So if you're interested, let's get started. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Karen Cole. I am a lawyer in England and Wales, and I help litigants in person. And this channel will give you different aspects of the law. So hit the subscribe button and be sure to check out our other videos on the playlist. So I was prompted to do this video because in a recent employment tribunal case, the employee was questioning the amount of pay they received, and this had a knock-on effect on their entitlement to holiday pay. So let's get the first legal point out of the way. If you are a self-employed person, you will not be entitled to holiday pay. If you're self-employed and you're working for a company, then you should negotiate your annual leave before you sign the contract. And because you're not entitled to annual pay, if you are self-employed, remember to save a little bit each month so that when you're on holiday, you don't have to worry about not getting a paycheck. So let's now talk about employed workers. So every employer must pay their employees statutory holiday pay, and they must allow them annual leave. And the calculation starts the minute you are employed. In England and Wales, the legal amount of time you get off work for annual leave is 5.5 weeks. That's the statutory amount. So they can give you more if they so choose. And that's sometimes a good negotiating point. So if you're working irregular hours such as shift work or term times, I'll discuss this, how that's calculated a little bit later, just to give you some idea. But what you might want to note is that an employer does not have to pay bank holidays or public holidays. They can choose to include this on your statutory leave, if that makes sense. So think of pay and the amount of time you're taking off. So what does 5.6 weeks work out to in days? And this is where a lot of people get confused because it's based on a 5-day working week. So it won't matter if you're working Monday to Friday or if you're working Tuesday to Saturday or Wednesday to Sunday. It's based on a 5-day working calculation, and that works out to 28 days. If, let's say, you only work 3 days a week, then the calculation would be 16.8 days. And I've left a calculator down below if you want to work out your annual leave days, because it does get kind of complicated. So statutory pay is limited to the 28 days. So even if you work more than 5 days a week, so if you work the full week, it doesn't matter, there's a limit. And the other thing I also want to point out is that you are legally allowed to carry over 8 days of holiday pay and leave. So the other thing that's allowed when you are on holiday, let's say if you got sick, and if it was for more than 7 days and you can show proof to your employer, they should be able to swap your annual leave for sick pay, meaning that you'll be carrying forward some of your annual leave. If you're wondering who's making all the background noise, say hello to Ziggy, my grandpuppy. He wants to get in on the action. It's important to understand how much leave you're going to be entitled to, dependent on the amount of hours you work. For example, you're on maternity leave, you're not technically working, but you're still employed. That would mean you're not able to take holidays, so you would be carrying forward that leave entitlement. And it would work the same way if you were off work for stress or any reason that you're still getting paid, but you're not able to work. You can carry forward that holiday leave entitlement. What happens if you're 0 hours contracted? So that would mean, for example, you're a shift worker and you would be entitled to the same amount of annual leave that everyone else gets. So basically, because you're employed, you get a statutory amount of annual leave, and that converts into pay. Most employers will prorate it throughout the year. Some employers use an accrued method. So they say, okay, you've worked this amount of time, you're entitled to this amount of leave. So if you've just started out your job, they might say, well, we're not going to allow you to take the full 5.6 weeks off because you've only accrued so many days that you'd be allowed to take off. This current employment tribunal hearing, the employee said they worked a certain amount of hours, and the employer said, no, it doesn't take that long to do that job. I don't believe you. And they also pointed out that there was some discrepancies. Like, for example, they had text that they were sick, and that was one of the days that they were expecting pay for. If you've got a dispute about your hours of pay, then it's going to be really difficult to work out your holiday entitlement pay. So in this case, what the judge said was they wanted to know what the dispute was. And I say this in all my videos, that if you're ever going to end up in court, the judge will look at your behavior just as much as your employer's. When I said I would mention a little bit about if you're contracted for, irregular hours, it's really important to keep very good records and get them approved at the time, because in the recent employment tribunal case that I was talking about, because the employee had a few discrepancies, the judge decided that their calculations were not reliable, and they went with the employer's calculations. And this had an effect on the amount of holiday pay that was still owing, because in April of 2020, the laws around irregular hours are based on using a 52-week reference period, where the worker has less than 52 weeks. It is worked out by the total number of weeks in which they did work, and those hours are then calculated into weeks, and then you can work out a correct pay. It is really complicated, so that's why I've left a calculator for working out holiday pay in the description below. If you think your holiday pay has not been worked out correctly, you do have a legal right to go to the Employment Tribunal and there is no cost to making a claim, but I would recommend that you get someone legal-minded to help you, because you don't want to go to the tribunal with the wrong figures or looking like a fool like this person did, and then the court finds your submissions unreliable. So when the court makes a decision, and if you are owed holiday pay, then your employer will have 14 days from the date of the decision to make that payment to you. If you need legal help with a dispute you have with your employer, contact Legal-Minded Friends. All the ways you can contact us are in the description area. Please like and share this video, as you never know who you can help.